today, you see, we have a beautiful guest with us. Hélène Dumais, is that how you say your last name?
So if you want to say it in full French, it's Hélène Dumais.
Okay.
That's
That
it.
sounds so beautiful.
It does sound, it sounds beautiful. It rolls off her tongue. And me here with just my English, I get tongue-tied. But thank you for that. I've asked Hélène to come on to have a conversation with us. In our past episodes, you've seen a guest before. We've had my daughter-in-law, Amber, on. You've seen shows with me talking about completing the Devil's Den. And you've recently heard me talk about changing my health outlook or health struggles. And I started a new program called Fit for Life. And Miss Hélène is my trainer. So I've asked her to come and have a conversation because Hélène and I have had loads of conversations about women's health. And as we age, not being afraid about working out, running, climbing mountains, lifting heavy weights, really just pushing our bodies to be healthy. And I know, Tracy E., you and I have had conversations about this. And you gave a story about when you were lifting weights just a couple of weeks ago and lifting your grandson up over the gate on that and all of that. So, Hélène, welcome. Thank you for taking time to meet with us today.
Thank you, ladies. It's a pleasure because the topic you guys are expressing and sharing is dear to my heart.
It is. So for those that don't know, I'm going to boast about Hélène for a moment. You've heard in our conversations, and when we had my daughter-in-law Amber on, Amber completing a 250-mile race over 5 days. Hélène was her coach for that. My son, we've talked about this, my son completed what they call an 888K through the Endurance Society, which is a 10-day race. It's basically 2 marathons a day for 10 days. He is one of 6 that have completed it. Or I think, yeah, we're still at 6, Hélène, am I correct?
I'm not sure, actually. I'm losing the
It might
count,
be
but
7, but I'm not sure. But Miss Hélène is the only female who has completed that. But she's also coached myself to complete Devil's Den, and she's currently coaching me in my new health journey called Fit for Life. And so we thought it would be extremely beneficial to bring her on, and because I think she's just highly qualified on it. And what I love about Hélène is she not only talks and helps you make your body strong, she makes sure your mindset is going right along with that. So that's beautiful. So again, thank you, Hélène. I think I'm going to jump right in. One of the questions that we had thought maybe you could help us with is there's a lot of discussion now about functional fitness. Can you explain, like put some explanation around that?
definitely. Functional fitness is a new term, we could say. We invented it because before, let's say we go back into hunter-gatherers' time, we didn't have the concept of fitness and neither functional fitness. Our lifestyle was just naturally about moving around, walking to get there, chasing some food, building some stuff. So we didn't have the necessity to plan specifically to move to stay healthy. Then we evolved, we got industrialized, we got more sedentary, and then we started to see, feel, experience sickness, weakness through that less natural, less more unhealthy lifestyle. And so we started to create things to cope with that. So we invented fitness. Now there's fitness. At first, fitness was either sport related or performance driven, the Olympics, or aesthetic oriented, which sadly is still present in our society. Now, functional fitness is the healthy one we want to pursue, which is basically the terms say that self-functional, that mimics everyday movement we should actually be doing. Now, again, because we're more sedentary, with most people will sit a lot more than they should, and we're in the animal kingdom, we're like the other animals, we're designed to move. We're designed to move. This is like crucial, understanding that. So functional fitness is about doing movement, exercise that are relates to functionality of everyday life, whether in your work, in your sport, in your hobbies. And so you can picture that as compound natural movements. If, for example, I'm dropping my pen on the ground and I'm gonna go down and pick it up, nobody's gonna say anything about it. It's just normal. But in fitness term, it's a deadlift. So now if I pick it up in a very unhealthy way, wrong way, it doesn't really matter. It's light. But if it's a heavy something, it might be important to know how to pick up something heavy. This is where we bring deadlifting. So it's a compound movement, multi-joints, and compared to, let's say, isolated movement, where it's more used in aesthetic, like bodybuilding, or maybe in rehab, where we want to isolate a specific muscle. Let's say I come in and I'm doing this. And you guys will be, what are you doing? It's not natural. So I'm mimicking the machine in a gym to work the chest, the fly chest machine. So it's not a functional movement. We don't do that on a daily basis in our daily activities. So it will target either for aesthetic purposes or rehab purposes. But functional fitness, in the end, it's everyday movement. And so it is important today to address it, again, because of our more sedentary lifestyle we have.
How much do you think we need, or is it unique to the individual? So, and does it change with age?
Mm-hmm. Great question. How much do we need is one thing, kind of more of the quantity aspect of it, but how specific we need to be, depending on our goal. If, let's say, I have sport related goals, definitely I will be specific towards that. If I'm a woman in my 20s versus if I'm a woman in my 40s, I will have different needs because of our beautiful hormonal changes throughout our life. And so it depends on our goal. It depends where we start, where we are, but definitely we need to move. Bring it back. We're designed to move. It's better to move and to work in an incorrect manner than to not move at all. I like that you brought earlier the Fit for Life plan I suggest for. So I do train different people. Some people have sport related goals, But everybody should have that underlying goal, a lifelong pursuit of just being fit for life. And so have you heard of the concept of centenarian decathlon? So I like this idea. I think it was introduced by Dr. Peter Attia. I'm not sure if I'm saying correctly his name. He's a physician and an expert in longevity. And he came up with this concept to everybody could have their own centenarian decathlon. Meaning, what do I want to be able to perform when I'll be 100? First, for that, I like some people who say, well, I don't intend, or I don't know if I will live to 100. There's the first thing you want to address. If you don't see it, if you don't think it's possible, you may actually go down sooner. So this is really important too. Of course, it's easier, or it's on autopilot as we are younger, to have the direction driven by our career, building a family. But as we get to 40, 50, 60, okay, we get to that top of the mountain that we kept climbing and growing and learning in life. And now we actually see for the first time the horizon. Yeah, there's an end somewhere down there. And it is important to address, what do I want from now? I cannot be just on autopilot. I will crash. So take the lead, take the driving seat, and choose powerfully where you want to go. So have a direction, have a, whatever you want to call it, a mission, put some meaning towards a vision in life. And it's and not be, again, stopped, or not be stopped by societal belief, even internal misbelief that, well, as I age, I may not be able to do this anymore. This is still, well, if you don't see it, if you don't believe in it, for sure, there's nothing's going to happen. So I invite people to explore this idea of creating their own centenarian decathlon, dreamings, but for real, not just dreaming utopically, but where would I be at 100? What will I be doing? How old will be my grandchild? And then define 10, if you want to do a decathlon, for example, 10 activity that you see yourself. Well, I want to be able to garden. I want to be able to pick up my grandchild. I want to be able to, I like hiking. I want to still be able to climb those mountains. And so all these everyday activities, what does it require me to work today to be able to do that later on? Of course, our physical capacity, cardiovascular capacity, strength capacity, endurance capacity changes. There's like different curves throughout our lifespan. So let's say to peak perform in sprints or powerlifting, well, in the 20s, this is where we're peaking as a general matter. But then to know that even if at some point we will have a decline, it's just natural, it's normal. Doesn't mean we have to stop or lower our expectation, but more I invite people to, well, what's my fullest potential still? So can I surf on the highest of that curve and not being there? So there's sometimes a potential that it's not visited by fear of hurting ourselves, or again, misbelief of, well, I'm a woman, I'm old, so I'm more fragile, I should not be doing this. Well, then knowledge is power. So good, there's more and more knowledge now to this day about female physiology, about we can gain strength, we can gain endurance, we can increase our bone density, even though a lot of hormonal changes happen as we enter perimenopause and menopause. We can still make some gains on all these different physical capacity. And so, yeah, so how much, to come back to your question, how much should we do some functional fitness? It depends on our goals, for sure. It is important to respect where we are, where we're starting. So respect a progression. If I'm completely sedentary, again, still, oh, well, I should not move because I've never done any sports or any physical activity. Like, no, it's never too late to start. Start progressively, small step. So focus on, progression, consistency, and progression. While respecting the equation of, because basically exercising is imposing a stress to our system. Then we give it the rest to recover. And this is where the magic happens. There's growth, there's gain. So if we don't stress enough, so if we don't do enough of lifting or cardiovascular activity, it's not enough to make gains. So let's say if I just lift heavy, anything heavy for me, if I only lift once a week, the next time, let's say every Monday, I said, oh, I'm going to, pick up some heavy things today. Well, if I only do it once a week, it's too long for my body to, it will have time to recover, but not enough to create adaptation. So I need to give it more stimulus. On the other spectrum, too much is also not good. So if every day, because I want it, I don't allow my body to recover, to actually rebuilding, and so creating growth, creating gains, now I can just go down and if I'm constantly in deficit. So a well balance. As we age through 40 and over, we do need, let's say, more recovery than what we were used to in our 20s and 30s, for example. So this is a gauge to know if, well, I've never done exercise before. I don't know. I don't have references. Again, that's okay. Start a little, small, assess, and then build up. But it's better a little bit more often than, again, a big chunk, and then it's too much. My body cannot handle that extra stress, can't recover properly, can't actually rebuild properly. So, and throughout all this, I like to remind us, so as much as we invented the concept of fitness to counterbalance, let's say, our lifestyle that is more sedentary, contrary to our ancestors, yet let's make sure we don't make it a chore or just a work. Make it fun, make it meaningful for you. So yes, it does require some reflection at first. So many people there's plenty of coaches, trainers, free online resources, lots of book on fitness program, what to do, how to do it. Now, this won't stick unless before you do the work for yourself, what do I really want? Where do I see myself in 10, 20, 30 years? Why does it matter to me? So this gives meaning and purpose to, well, now this morning, I'm not gonna go deadlift. I'm actually preparing myself to be able to. I have a great example for that. My mom, I keep using her as an example. She just turned 83 this past week. And I asked her, like, how do you feel? She's like, I don't feel 83 at all. I said, great. She, at 70 something, she'd never done sport before, was never into physical activity whatsoever, but she kept talking to me about Santiago de, what's the name in English? That it's a trek, it's a path, walking path across Spain, that it's 800 kilometer long. Originally, it's more of a religious type path, but a lot of people are doing it for different reasons. And so she kept talking about it. Oh, I saw this article about Compostelle. Oh, I saw this conference about it. Ooh, blah, blah, blah. And I said one day, well, Mom, when are you going to do it? And she's like, I can't do that. So she was a great example of being in her own limiting belief. And one part is just what our society, culturally speaking, well, women don't do big things, or physical activity. And so there was those limiting belief in her way. And also, well, I'm 70 something. It's kind of late to start something. Can I do that? Is it safe to do that? Is it healthy to do that? So all these, well, we addressed them. And I told her, can you put one foot in front of the other? She's like, yes. Okay. So how do you walk 800 kilometers? One step at a time. So I said, if you want, check, well, as she was saying, well, I need to have the green light of my doctor. Sure. So, and definitely we should all be, make sure we have all the green lights in that sense. Said, once you have the green light, I challenge her to book a flight for Spain in a year. And then I'll be there along the way, and we're going to prepare you. You're going to train for that. So suddenly she started exercising, training. But it was not, I'm doing deadlift or I'm lifting weight. So when I showed her how to deadlift, I said, Mom, you'll have to pick up your bag every morning to start hiking. Like, okay, so we're gonna work that. So she started deadlifting. But now it was purposeful, it was meaningful. She was not deadlifting to deadlift. She was preparing for her journey into Spain, over 800 kilometers. All of this to say, it's amazing. She worked hard for a year, walking 1 kilometer, and then 5 kilometer, and then 20 kilometer, doing stairs at home, doing some, body weight squat, and all these little, always linked to that goal of hers. That makes sense to her. And this is why it was possible to maintain the discipline to train. Even in the winter, the Canadian winter, she walked through the Canadian winter to train, which is amazing. She went there a year after and she completed it. And when I picked her up at the airport on her way back, she looked younger. She's like is this my mom? And it was beautiful. We didn't have to say anything. I just cried watching her coming so proud, at peace, free. And she said, I don't know what to say. And I said, there's nothing to say. I get it. And she says, I just did something I wish I could have done when I was 18 years old. And now I'm doing it at 70. So, of course, I keep using her as an example that it's never too late. And, she keeps training. Today she's 83. She has different objective, more like fit for life objective now. And she keeps making gain at 83 years old. Her bone density increased. She's more, her dexterity improved by training, doing specific lifting, specific cardiovascular activity at her own level, at her own intensity, but just to target to recruit those stimuli for what we need as women over 40 to make sure we have strong bones, we don't lose too much of our lean mass, etc. And so it's possible.
Well, I love the way you say she did it 1 kilometer at a time. And I remember when you were training me for the Devil's Den, I would tell people that you have me running 1 minute on, 1 minute off. And in the end, I did the 32 mile, like in a year time frame, it was a 32 mile, a 50K that I completed. And it started with 1 minute on, 1 minute off. Thank you so much for taking the time to be with us today. And to our viewers, please, if you have any questions for us, for Helen, put them down in the comment. Don't forget, if you like this episode or episodes, we're actually going to have this episode in a couple episodes. So we'll spread them out. And so make sure you watch it all. Share this with somebody that you think will benefit from this. Make sure you hit that like button and subscribe and hit notifications so you know when our next episode is out. Until then, thank you.
Thanks for watching, and we hope to see you as a regular member of our community.